My honor now to introduce one of the best figures in the world of diabetes, my dear friend, Professor Shera, the honorary president of IDF, and the most wisdom man maybe in the locality of our nearby South Asia, Pakistan, IDF, even in Egypt. Professor Shera will talk about a very important issue, insulin in diabetes. When and which insulin and how. And I think we will all listen to Professor Shera, my dear friend. Okay. الحاقا للاناونسمنت بتاع الغدا لان نعرف ان تساؤلات الغدا تبقى كتيره. الناس المقيمين هيبقى في المطعم والناس اللي مش مقيمين هيبقى هنا في القاعه، بس ما فيش غدا هيبتدي قبل الساعه 2 علشان خاطر ما يعني نتعبش نفسنا ونسحب نفسنا يعني.
First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this meeting conference for inviting me here. And I must thank my very, very dear friend and brother, Misbah and Adil Sayyed. I have worked with them for a long, long time, many years. This is my fourth visit to Luxor. And I really counted last time it was 12 visits to Cairo and Alexandria. Why I have come 4 times to Luxor? Because medicine is my profession, and archaeology and biblical and Quranic history is my passion. I have traveled to 100 countries. What is mentioned in Quran and Bible in places, I have been there. And my hobby is archaeology and comparative religion, from Confucius to Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The time allocated to me is 20 minutes, Dr. Misbah. Misbah, may I have mentioned the time given to me was that's right. And I can assure you, I'll finish my talk in 19 minutes and 30 seconds. So, coming to the lecture proper, insulin therapy, which insulin, when and how. I have tried to make this lecture, every slide I have put with a purpose. May I ask in 2 seconds, how many of you understand what I am talking? Can you raise your hands, please? Oh, great. So I feel very comfortable. Now, this is our association. We have 139,000 type 2 diabetics and 1,800 type 1 diabetics. We see 300 patients of diabetes a day. Every single treatment in this association is free. We have only 300 donors, and if you want to be a donor, you have to be qualified. You have to go through an interview. Hazrat Ali, the 4th Khalifa Islam, has said that there is no greater blessing in this world than a long life and healthy body. As Muslims, we believe our day of destiny, day of death is in the hand of God. All what we can do is efforts to make us as healthy and walk to our God, Allah Ta'ala, as healthy as possible. Insulin therapy. Insulin, as you know, was discovered in 1921. And the first person in Canada, of course, by Frederick Banting and Steen and Collins and the pathologists. But the first person to use insulin in the United States of America was Elliot Jocelyn. And after his name is the Jocelyn Clinic. And when he was injecting the first injection of insulin in a boy of 17, 18, he said, today the era of diabetic coma ends and the era of long-term complications begins. And it's so true, we don't see diabetic coma. But he was a wise man. I know one of the 7 members who founded Jocelyn Clinic. I worked with Jocelyn. was my very dear friend, Prof. Jocelyn died in 1968, and I came in the IDF in 1982, so I did not have the pleasure to meet him. And look at his wisdom and his vision. After 2 years, he says, insulin is a remedy, which is primarily for the wise and not the foolish, with the patients or doctors. If a doctor is a foolish doctor, if a patient is not compliant, do not trust this gift of God to human beings. Now this is a true picture of IDF. As only president of IDF, I can tell you that different sections headed by experts, type 1, type 2, education, glucose monitoring. And this girl, when we bring out magazines, this girl is a true picture, not an artificial photograph. Just before taking insulin, she is smiling. She is happy that when she goes to her school, she'll be healthy, she can walk, she can be more, she can participate in light exercises. And that conveys a message that insulin injection is a pain-free injection. It is the doctors who give pain because of wrong technique. The pain is just like an ant biting you. I have done it myself. So it's a painless injection, virtually painless injection. Now when we should give insulin? When to use insulin? All type 1 need insulin. And this is type 1, young as 4 months old. I have purposely put this photograph. She was very tightly controlled. She will go repeatedly into hypo and eat more. The only reason a type 1 gets fat is she's getting hypo, craving for meals and put on weight. And now another message. I have been a doctor for 57 years. He came to me as a boy of 13. And now he's 64, retired as a chief engineer in Karachi. The message I wish to convey is that type 1 bleeds through, as we say in our diabetes terminology. A type 1 will always, a type 1 will always remain type 1, always, all her life, for his life. So this is a misconception that now he's 25, we can be changed to oral agents. No. What other thing type 1 means is that if you do not give him insulin for 2 years, he has to die. They don't manufacture insulin. All type 1 diabetics before 1921 and 22 had to die before 2 years. But now, Allah's blessing, His blessing to human race, knowledge, no child should die, no type 1 should die of diabetes and should lead as normal a life as possible. This is type 2. They are manufacturing insulin, but the problem is insulin resistance. Even if you don't give them insulin for 30 years, then it is indicated. They will not die because of lack of insulin. They will die of complications. And the third thing is gestational diabetes. Even today, the treatment of choice is insulin, but now we know definite studies, you can give them glucuronide, that is sulfonylurea or metformin, if the insulin is not available or not reachable. Which insulin to use? A good insulin which is affordable and available. And this is the main challenge, that we are in search of insulin. There has been tremendous improvement in insulin, but still we are looking for higher insulin. This is the basic need, is a good quality insulin. This is sophistication, analogs, pumps, and exotic nodes. These are the conventional insulins. They are named after the DCCT trial. They divided into 2 conventional insulins, and now we have analogs. They are 7 to 8 times cheaper, as good as analogs in the experienced hands. No doubt about it. Every statement I made with full authority. It's an important point in poor countries, and rest assured, this is as effective, as good as analogs. This is the conventional insulin, short-acting arm, and intermediate-acting end, and this syringe. Another point is, and this is our contribution to the world, myself and Professor Jasmine Bajaj, the past president of IDF, we told our patients that use insulin in our villages, in our rural areas, but forgot to tell them that throw it away after using it. When we visited them after 6 months, some areas after 2 years, they were using the same syringe and no infection. We told the biggest manufacturers of insulin, Novo and Lilly, they invited us to Indianapolis, Lilly, and Copenhagen, Novo. This was in '84. And these scientists did not know why our patients using the same syringe for 2 years did not note a single case of infection was reported at all. There was long story, especially short. We had a meeting, we sat there for 2 weeks, and after 6 months or so, they said the manufacturer did not know that insulin has a bacteriostatic quality, as good as a bactericidal. So please, you can use the same syringe for as many times as you want to, but we tell our patients that after 40 injections males and 50 injections female, the needle gets blood. One condition, don't touch the needle, your nails are infected, can be infected. Don't wash the syringe. And please believe me, I have never ever seen. And that happened in 1985. We presented this, and it took American Diabetes Association, what we said in 1985 during the IDF Medic Conference, they said in 1994 that some Shera and this is the data correct. It can be used many times the same syringe. These are the analogs. And these are expensive, and most of us are using analogs. These are the analogs. Most of them, almost all of them, except the conventional insulin carrying pens, they have to use in the shape of pen. Now, what are the advantages of rapid-acting analogs? Glucine, Epidral, rapid. Better control of postprandial blood glucose excursions, reduced risk of nocturnal hypoglycemia, and good acceptance by the patients. We get the same results with conventional insulin, which is 7 to 8 times cheaper, believe me. And good acceptance, well, you can use them 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after meals. But look at the cost difference. In a poor country or poor patients, is it worth using them for that small benefit? This is the advantage of long-acting, almost the same. Now, this is an important point. The mixed insulin, they were the pre-mixed insulin RNA. We combined the insulin in different ratios, 50-50, 70-30, 60-40, 80-20. And I'll come back to this. Please remember. Now, the timing of insulin is very important. You inject insulin in the morning, the same time you have to inject in the evening, otherwise there will be fluctuations and difference. Because short-acting has 6 hours, conventional insulin, intermediate 12 hours. You cannot inject insulin at 8 o'clock and the night at 10 o'clock. No, there will be fluctuations. Try not to inject insulin after 8:30 because you will be exposed to the risk of 2 hypoglycemia, the short-acting and the long-acting. So, whole of America and Europe is 7 a.m. and 7 a.m. So we in my country, I am advocating not after 8:30 a.m. because the night will have risk of hypoglycemia and you'll be sleeping, and again risk of hypoglycemia, intermittent acting, will be sleeping. Now this is very important slide. If you use the conventional insulin, which are these, look at the onset of action. This is regular, which is called clear, regular, crystalline, conventional, short-acting. It starts action half an hour to 1 hour, peak 2 to 3 hours, and begins to fade after 6 hours. NPS 2 to 4 hours, 6 to 10 hours, peak, and 10 to 6 hours. That's why you can combine the two together, and we should combine the two together, because when the action of regular insulin begins to fade, NPS takes over. So there is a sustained insulin level in the blood for 24 hours. Very important point here. When you let this pen analogs, their action starts is quarter of an hour, and this is the problem here. There should have a separate pointer. And it's peaking 1.5 hours and action is over 5 hours. And that's important. If you use, please do, we are having lots of problems. If you use an analog, short-acting analog, and combine with a long-acting analog, glargine, you have to have 3 injections of this before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, and the 4th at bedtime. You cannot have morning and evening. The day consists of 24 hours. So this is a very important point. That's why we are having problems and complications. So if you decide to use an analog, it has to be used morning, before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, and then supported by intermediate-acting, long-acting insulin, glargine, or Revlimid at bedtime or 2 hours after dinner. Where to inject? Only 2 sites, abdomen and thigh. There is no third site. Don't inject in the umbilicus because the dentures are coming there, but you can inject in thigh and abdomen. But very important point. Don't say inject in the abdomen in the morning, thigh in the evening. There is a difference in the control because insulin is absorbed quicker from abdomen and delayed absorption from thigh. If you are getting hypo at 3 o'clock or so, then you can use morning abdomen and delayed action at thigh in the evening. But don't change from day-to-day basis. You will have problems. We first site is abdomen because it's an excellent subcutaneous tissue. Thousands of dollars have been spent on the length of the needle of the syringe of the conventional insulin. And you have to go direct. How to inject? If you have not washed for 1 month, and this we have proved, another contribution. If you have not had water, there's some area there is no water. And if you have no water and not had a bath for 1 month, don't worry. You just inject the insulin directly and there will be no infection. Second thing is never clean the area with a spirit. Because the skin will get hardened, just wipe with water. Never use the spirit because the typhon has to take it in all his life. Go direct, inject, take out, put back the syringe, use for 40 to 50 times, same in abdomen. And this is the diabetes control complication trial, which was from 1983 to 1993. Largest trial ever taken, $168 million, Canada and America. And it was so different, the intensive therapy and the conventional therapy, that the trial of 10 years was stopped in 9 years. That is the conventional therapy, 1 to 2 injections a day combination, at least 3 or more injections in 24 hours. And this is conventional, I told you, RNA can combine in the morning, but always take in the syringe, if you want to combine syringe, I show you, always take the short acting, never the long acting intermediate. The drawbacks of intensive therapy, because at tighter control, you are likely to have 2 to 3 fold increase in incidence of severe hypoglycemia, and there is more increase in weight. With conventional, the maximum weight gain is 3.6 kg, but in that you can go to 4.8. And this is, of course, the blood glucose monitoring, because the short-term insulin, whether to increase the dose or not, before lunch you do blood sugar, pre-dinner, bedtime, 3 a.m. And multiple dose, of course, then you do post-breakfast, pre-lunch, post-lunch, pre-dinner, bedtime, and pre-breakfast. In 80, and this is another important slide, in 80% of the cases, we come across a situation where the blood sugar, some level is very high, some level is very low. So this is not possible, and you should not continue with combination of 75-30, or 70-30, 75 and 25, because that position comes in 80% of cases. Before breakfast is okay, but after lunch is increased, before dinner is increased. So this is an example, a true example. A 40-year-old man, type 2 diabetic, pre-mixed insulin 70-30, dose 30 units in the morning, 24 in the evening, comes with the following blood sugar level. Before breakfast 90, before lunch 210, before dinner 80, and bedtime 230. Now here what he needs is the shorter acting insulin. should be increased, 30% increase, which is the shorter combination in proportion. But if you increase that, the 70% will also increase. So you're going to hypo, while there is having siesta in Pakistan, it's a hot country, climate in Karachi. We have snowfall there in the north for the last 3 weeks, heavy snowfall. But in Karachi, we don't see snowfall. So likewise, his blood sugar back up to 30. He needs to increase the dose of 24 units, only 30 fraction. If you increase that, he'll die after Isha prayers, or in hypoglycemia, tahajjud time. And he's a pious man, he died. Well, God wanted him earlier, but doctor contributed to his death at 3 o'clock in the morning. The last 2 slides, very important slides, the honeymoon period. Very fascinating enough. As the honeymoon does not last in most of the marriages for a very long time. So there is very important phenomena, which is honeymoon period and Somogai effect. And this I learned a lesson. The founder of the Diabetic Association, my wife was a senior gynecologist, professor of gynecology, trained in England, delivered triplets to the founder of Diabetic Association's son. The son had triplets. And 2 of them got diabetes at the age of 4. So I told them, and he was totally illiterate man, but a billionaire, a big industrialist. You don't have to remember all the rich men are mostly uneducated. All the educated men are not so rich. This is my, anyways, long story. So I forgot to tell this founder of Diabetic Association, I told him that your grandson of 4 years will be on insulin all his life. Then he went to a quack and he gave him something for 5 rupees, for 5 cents. And he came to me, look, you said you are a doctor, you studied in England and America, and you said, oh, look, he's without insulin and levels are okay. The child had gone to honeymoon phase. It never lasts more than 1 year. So since then I always tell them, you may come across a honeymoon phase where the child may not need, because the sleeping, the dormant beta cells get activated. And this is the Somogai effect. We have had some deaths earlier when Harry King was using insulin in 1980 in England, and then we learned more from Harry King in 84. That if the blood sugar at 3 o'clock in the morning is low, but fasting is high, here goes Somogai effect. Here you have to reduce the dose of the evening and intermediate insulin. That's very, in other words, this is a very important point. And this is another thing we gave to the world. I'm sorry, I'll take 1 minute more, perhaps 90 seconds. And this is another thing me and Jaspreet Bajaj from. Jaspreet Bajaj was physician to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, and Indira Gandhi. And we still working very closely, but he has some health problems. That we don't have electricity in our villages. So insulin gets destroyed. So we gave it to the world that insulin needs to be happy at 25 degrees centigrade. So either you put in the water cooler, take the ice off, the temperature of water cooler is 14 degrees centigrade, or clay pitcher, here the temperature never exceeds 25 degrees centigrade. If it exceeds, then make sure you put a neat clay pitcher and put water. So you can safeguard, drop your insulin here through thread. And this is good blood glucose monitoring. And last point in this context is that the results of the laboratory, which is venous blood, will be different from the results of the glucometer, which is the capillary blood. You have to multiply the laboratory result by 1.1 to the result of the glucometer. This is very important. Also, laboratory is different. No, you should learn it's a capillary blood, it's a venous blood. Thank you for your attention. This is a photograph from the northern area of Pakistan, Himalaya mountains. We have 8 peaks more than 25,000 feet. And lastly, I'll give you a beautiful answer if you ask me a beautiful question. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.